Gallery Experience. Hidden Stories Behind Art. Episode 4. Why Museums Sometimes Hide Paintings from the Public. Imagine walking into a museum and seeing hundreds of beautiful paintings on the walls. You might think, this must be everything the museum owns. But it isn't. In fact, museums often have far more artwork than they can display. Some paintings may spend years, even decades, hidden from public view. And sometimes there is a very good reason. The first reason is simple. There isn't enough wall space. A major museum can own thousands, or even hundreds of thousands, of objects. But a building has only so many rooms. If a museum tried to display everything at once, the result would be overwhelming. Imagine walking into a gallery where every wall is covered from floor to ceiling. There would be no quiet space. No visual breathing room. Your eyes wouldn't know where to look. And individual artworks would lose their impact. So museums make choices. They select certain works for exhibitions and keep others in storage. But storage doesn't mean the artwork has been forgotten. Museum storage can be a fascinating world of its own. Paintings may be kept in carefully controlled environments. Temperature and humidity are monitored. Light exposure is limited. Artwork is protected from dust, insects, vibrations, and other environmental risks. Some paintings may be placed in specialized racks. Others may require special containers. The goal is preservation. Because museums are not only displaying art for people today, they are protecting it for future generations. Now consider an old painting. It may be hundreds of years old. The materials may already be fragile. The canvas may have become weaker. The paint may have developed cracks. The frame may no longer provide enough support. If the painting is placed on display continuously, light and environmental conditions can gradually affect it. So, sometimes the museum takes it off the wall. Not because it is unimportant, but because it is important enough to protect. This creates an interesting paradox. The more valuable an artwork is, the more carefully it may need to be treated. And careful treatment sometimes means hiding it from us. Now there is another reason. Conservation. Imagine a painting that has been damaged. Perhaps the canvas was torn. Perhaps the paint surface is unstable. Perhaps an earlier restoration was poorly done. Perhaps the colors have changed over time. Before the painting can return to public display, specialists may need to study it. Conservators work carefully to stabilize and preserve the artwork. This can take months, sometimes years. And while they are working, the painting may be completely invisible to visitors. But something fascinating can happen during conservation. The conservator may discover something nobody knew was there. An earlier composition, a change made by the artist, a hidden figure, an altered section,
En inscription.
or evidence that changes what experts understand about the artwork. In other words, sometimes a painting disappears from public view so that its hidden story can be discovered. Technology has made this even more fascinating. Scientists can use imaging techniques to look beneath the visible surface. They can sometimes see drawings or earlier layers without physically damaging the painting. The artwork may contain an entire history underneath what we see. Imagine looking at a portrait and discovering that underneath it is another composition. The artist changed their mind, painted over the first image, and continued working. For hundreds of years, nobody could see what was underneath. Then technology reveals it. Suddenly, the painting has another story. Now, let's talk about another reason museums may keep artwork out of public view. It may be controversial. Perhaps questions have been raised about who created it. Perhaps its ownership history is disputed. Perhaps it was acquired under questionable circumstances. Perhaps a country or community has requested its return. These situations can become extremely complicated. Museums are not only responsible for protecting objects, they also have ethical and legal responsibilities. Sometimes an artwork can become the center of a much larger conversation about history, ownership, colonialism, cultural heritage, or restitution. The public may see only a painting, but behind the painting can be a complicated history. Then there is another possibility. The artwork simply doesn't fit the current exhibition. Museums create exhibitions around themes. A curator might be organizing a show about landscapes. Another exhibition might focus on portraits. Another might explore a particular period. A painting can be extremely important, but still not fit the story being told at that moment. So it stays in storage until the right opportunity comes. This means a painting can spend years waiting. Then suddenly, a curator discovers it. Perhaps they are researching an artist. They open an old collection record. They find a painting that hasn't been displayed for 20 years. They examine it. They realize it is perfect for a new exhibition. The painting comes out of storage. It is cleaned. It is examined. It is photographed. It is carefully installed. And after years of darkness, the public sees it again. There is something beautiful about that. An artwork can disappear from public view without disappearing from history. Sometimes it is simply waiting. Waiting for a new exhibition. Waiting for new research. Waiting for new technology. Waiting for someone to ask a new question. And this is why museum storage should not be thought of as a graveyard for art. It is more like a library. Not every book in a library is sitting on the reading table. But that doesn't mean the books aren't important. They are being preserved so someone can study them when the time is right. The same is true for museum collections. Some artworks are on display. Some are being conserved. Some are being researched. Some are being loaned. Some are waiting. And some may remain hidden for reasons we don't even know yet. Now think about what happens when you visit a museum. You may see 100 paintings, but behind those 100 paintings may be thousands more. You are seeing only a small selection of the museum story. And perhaps one of the most exciting things about museums is that their stories are never completely finished. A painting hidden today may become the star of tomorrow's exhibition. A forgotten artwork may be rediscovered. A damaged painting may be restored. A mysterious painting may finally be authenticated. A hidden image may be revealed. And an artwork that nobody has seen for decades may suddenly return to the wall. So the next time you walk through a museum and notice an empty space, or discover that a famous artwork is not currently on display, don't assume it has disappeared. It may be resting, being protected, being studied, being restored, or waiting for its next chapter. Because sometimes, the most interesting stories in a museum are not the paintings you can see. They are the paintings you cannot see. This is the hidden stories behind art.